Hey guys, so I just completed this game against a 2400 rated player in which I won. I mean, spoiler, but that's what the title is, and I hit 2200 for the first time, which is insane. It's taking me like literal years of like non-stop grinding this game to get up to this point. So let's just get into the game. We know what you're here for. My opponent decides to go with e4. Very normal move, most common move. I go c6, what I always been playing. Knight c3, d5, knight f3, and I learned a bit of new theory for this line, which I'm glad that I'm able to play, which is de takes and knight f6. Very natural, but the new theory comes after queen e2, which is a very normal move. Basically, if I were to play like this, it's checkmate here, or if I'm able to play like this, it's checkmate here as well. That's kind of what queen e2 does, and he wants me to take with the g-pawn. What you gotta do, you take, and then you bring the other knight over, which is a new line that I have been working with. As you can see, the game definitely ended like that, but it's a new line that I've been working with after knight d7, where you bring the knight over to f6, and it's very, very cool. What I used to do here, I used to play g6 and get myself into a worse position because of the move queen to e5, just attacking me, and I have to play f6, and then my position is kind of bad due to light squared weaknesses around the king. Right. So knight d7, bishop to bishop to c4, knight f6, threatening checkmate here. Don't want to take the queen and blunder bishop takes f7 mate. So we play e6. This is also all been played before. Queen e2, and now the first move by myself out of theory. I play kind of a bad move. I played some g6, which I thought was very natural. I wanted to get my dark squared bishop out that way, but I probably should have considered the move bishop d6, like threatening like stuff over there, and then he has like problems, and I don't know. Bishop g6, bishop g7 ideas was kind of stupid because now he gets like big attack on my king, and it gets very violent. And yeah, I mean, he's a 2400. What are you supposed to do? He's good at the game. He knows what he's doing. But anyway, g6. My opponent goes castles. Bishop g7, obviously. Why else would I play g6? Let's not do anything rash. c3. Castles. Nothing can be wrong with this move. d4. And I decide here to do another stupid thing. What I should be doing is understanding that I'm a little cramped in the position, and I should try to get my pieces out with moves like queen c7, queen d6 maybe. That makes lots of sense. But I rush it. Again, and I play this move knight d5 because I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm putting my knight in the center of the board. What can be wrong with that? What can be wrong with that? Putting my knight in the center of the board. My knight looks good. It controls some key squares, and I mean, like, it's a better square for the knight than f6, right? Because my knight f6 get pinned in some lines. So knight d5 made a lot of sense to me. My opponent goes bishop e2. I'm bishop d2. Okay. I go queen c7. I need to develop my pieces. I'm a little cramped right now. My opponent decides to go with this move. A little bit absurd, this move rook ad1, but we're still in very simple territory, and we haven't gotten to anything special just yet. But don't worry, the festivities will ensue very, very shortly. Rook ad1. I decided to go b6 because I'm like, oh, my light squared bishop. Oh no, my light squared bishop is so bad there. Oh gosh, I'm playing like a bad French defense with a bad French bishop. Oh gosh, I gotta get that bishop out. So I play b6, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I could play b5. I was thinking about playing b5. And another idea of queen c7 was to play c5 at some point, but I didn't like after here, like, at the very least, like, takes, and here that would lose the knight. But there were some lines there that I didn't really like, and the reason why he put his rook here was that, like, that file might open up in the future. Like here, I don't know. There's like some way that he can go through. Maybe like bishop, maybe like takes, and like bishop f4 stuff. Something like this. But either way, c5 was an idea that I had, b5 was an idea that I had. These are the top 3 engine moves, but b6 was the idea I went with because I thought, okay, I could play b5, but I don't like that I'm like just abandoning the c5 plan. So I decided to play this in like bishop b7 ideas, and maybe I'll open stuff up in the future. Right. Completely logical, but completely normal. h4. Very, very aggressive, very dynamic position, I think, for a while, and I play the move h5 because I'm like, okay, I cannot allow h5 from him. I really cannot allow h5 because he's not gonna stop. After h5, he's gonna go h6, and like that looks dastardly. That looks terrible. I don't know why I would ever allow that. So I decided to go h5. G4 is an option here, but I didn't think it worked right away because I thought maybe his king would be a little weak in this line after hg and like queen g4 or something. I thought maybe his queen could be a little weak. And I'm also like always thinking about taking here and just winning this pawn. But that's a moot point because he doesn't go for it. Instead, he goes for rook fe1. Okay, just bring another rook to the party. Completely natural. Bishop b7. I don't want to do anything rash just yet. I'm just developing my bishop. Let's keep it going. Let's connect the rooks. Normal stuff. Bishop d3. And you can already kind of see the problem. My opponent has 4 pieces staring at my king. My opponent has 4 pieces staring at my king right now. And there are sacrifices. Like this that's a threat. Like if I go a6, this could be like a serious problem. Like it's like completely reasonable. White has a +1 advantage here. Like I thought like fg, bishop takes here maybe, and like this, and like I'm getting mated in some lines, and that's terrifying. That's terrifying. Also, you get 3 pawns for the piece, which is insane. So I'm like, okay, I cannot allow that. I cannot allow that. I understand the danger. I see what's going on. I play 97, which is actually a much worse move than a6, which is the nonsense move that I played earlier. This is a terrible move. This is a terrible move because of bishop f4, which I saw. I'm like, bishop f4, what do I do here? And I could not figure out a thing that I could do. I was thinking queen c8. And it's pretty obvious that I'm in hot water here. it's pretty obvious. I can never like sack my bishop because then my take the knight with my bishop because then my dark squares are incredibly weak around my king. And I thought that I would just be losing there, but instead after 97 he decides to go with this move bishop g5. Okay. To like the initiated, this looks like a fork. But I was thinking, like, even, like, bishop, like, knight g6, takes. If he takes here, then queen h5, threatening mate, and I'm, like, dead. Like, rook f6. I thought that this was just, like, a lost position. And I'm right. This is a lost position. I didn't really calculate all this, but I kind of understood that that's not what I want. That's not what I want. He also gets 3 pawns for the piece here, which is still an issue. So I didn't play f6. I stilled my nerves, and I decided to go knight f5, which was like my original idea. Just getting in the way of his bishop, so there's still no sacrifices. This doesn't work right now because the knight is in the way, and there's no queen h5. So after there, I go knight f5. My opponent decides to go g4, which I thought about. I thought g4 was a very interesting move. And here I actually had to like get up and leave, so I played a move pretty quickly. It wasn't a very good move. Second engine move. What I'm supposed to do is like steal my nerves and say, okay, I'm under a big attack. I'm probably gonna sack a pawn or something. And like this looked so bad for me. This is the top engine line. This looked terrible. Why would I do this? Like he's probably gonna take my knight and then like go h5 and like killed me. Like I'm dead. I have died. My spirit has gone, and I'm not even in heaven anymore because of how badly I lost this game. So we don't want to get to that. We don't want to get to that. So I'm like, okay. You know what? I'm gonna take the knight. I'm gonna take the knight. That knight is causing me a lot of trouble. I'm gonna take the knight. I understand my dark squares are gonna be weak as hell, but I think it's probably okay to do this. And I am completely wrong. But then again, you know that I won this game. So how did I manage to win this game after being it being a +4 position for white? I'll tell you how. So my opponent takes back with the pawn, and I go knight g7. My idea. Now after takes, I'm gonna take back with the knight. I'm all good. I was having to like help out some stuff because like a guy came to like repair our dishwasher and stuff, so I had to get out of the get out of the game for a second. But I wasn't playing perfectly in these two moves, but then I came back right here and I managed to get everything working. So knight g7. My opponent goes bishop f3, f6. My bad. Obviously trying to take and take this pawn. Take this pawn. That's terrible. That's terrible. And also another thing I was really worried about is like in some lines, like just this. Like he just goes queen here and then like lobster pincer mate me. So what I played here was like kind of counterintuitive. I wasn't too scared of this move right away because I mean knight here and I would attack the bishop, but then he would go queen here, take, and then like queen here, and then he would mate me. So that's kind of the problem. That's the threat that he has, and I have to be very careful. So I played this move rook fb8, which I thought was insanely creative. The idea is an entirely defensive idea of moving my rook away, and the idea is that after let's say this happened in the game, g8, knight h, queen here, takes. I have this move queen back, defending mate. That was the idea. Fortunately, this loses the bishop g6, and that's a little rough. But what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do against bishop g6? I already knew I was losing. Let's not make it too rough. Like I knew that was bad. Maybe I wouldn't have taken the bishop. Maybe after queen e3, I would have just gone queen c8 and like survived a little bit. And like after like queen h6, I have this move. Actually, no, I would not have that move. Then I would have to take the bishop, come here, and then like trade queens and stuff, and not that move. But like that's kind of what would happen. But instead, after gh, which happens in the game, I take back with the knight. It's a +6 position, and my opponent goes for a tactic here that surprised me so hard. It's beautiful. It truly is beautiful. He plays queen takes h5. Queen takes h5. That's insane. I was not expecting queen takes h5 at all. But it's still winning for white. It's a +3 position. It's not as good as it would be to like slow play it, but this is winning for white. And the reason why is because after king h2, he can bring his rooks to this file and like mate me. Like after king h2, I have to go king f8. I don't even know why, but like let's say I go rook d8, rook g1 check, king f8. I was thinking, okay, here there's nothing and I win, right? That's kind of what I was thinking. But actually, bishop h7 and I lose. I just lose. I have to sack my queen and then this position. And this is, it doesn't take a genius to tell you this position is lost. And that's why the sacrifice works. But it's insane, and my opponent misses it. My opponent goes rook e3. And now, it's somehow still equal, though I'm up 6 points of material. I'm alright, and I play the only move. And this gets a nice brilliancy from the computer. I go rook d8. Brilliant move. Rook d8. Basically, I understand this bishop pair is what's killing me right now. If he takes this rook with the bishop, I win. Easy. I win easy because that bishop on f6 is the only thing that's keeping my king boxed in, and then I'm just up a queen. I'm just up a queen for a rook. So, he can't take like that. But even more importantly, after this move king h2, trying to bring his rooks to the file, now I thought, okay, I'm going to take on d3. Somehow this is giving a mistake by the computer, even though it drops my advantage down from minus 0.02 to like a minus point. Oh wait, no, minus 0.2 to minus 0.02, and also like some engines say it's the top engine move. Like right now, the engine is saying that rook d3 is the top engine move, so I don't really care what Stockfish says here, and and my opponent has to recapture. I was honestly thinking he would recapture like this and like try to keep some stuff going, but this is also fine. I go king h2, which I thought was very good. This loses. Actually pretty unceremoniously loses to rook d7, and that's actually not hard to see, but I miss it. I miss it, and he misses it too. And he goes rook g1. My idea was, okay, I'm gonna get my rook to the file, and if I trade off one of his rooks, I'm easily winning. This is what I thought. This is what I thought. He has one and only way to make a draw here. One and only way to make a draw here. Everything else is losing. He has to take my rook here, check. If I sack my queen, it's probably just a draw, so I can't do that. I come here. He can give this check, but he doesn't really want to. Like, it doesn't matter. Let's say he gives this check, and then he has to go king g3, threatening a perpetual check, because then my king won't have a... Actually, threatening a checkmate. No, threatening a perpetual check, because I would have to repeat moves, because if my king ran out this way, this would be not a checkmate yet, but it will be a checkmate soon. And after I go like any move, computer says queen d7, but it doesn't matter. Let's say c5. This move makes sense. f3, cutting off this square. So if I do nothing, he's threatening like this, and if I come up here, it's checkmate, right? f3, I have to sack my bishop on f3. Takes. I give this check. Actually, I probably give him the b7 check to hold on to my f6 pawn. This check, king f4, and then this is a draw. Then he has perpetual check. That's the line he had to see. That's a little hard. That's a little hard to see. That's a bit tricky of a line to see. Actually, there's one even more thing. Because queen b7, he has that move. What about queen c6, king f4, the queen a4 check, b4, and I don't have any more checks. Okay. That's a little hard to see. That's a little hard to see. I don't think anyone would ever find that. But anyway, yeah, I have to go through like all this line. Back to here. That was like a 10 move line. Back to here. He doesn't find it. He goes rook dg3, and he's like, okay, I'm like attacking you, but now I get to trade off the rook. Now there's no more perpetual check because I decided to go c5. I'm gonna put the queen here. I'm gonna mate him, and it's game over. There's nothing he can do. He gives me a check. I come up with my king. Obviously, you don't want to go down and like blender this. Like we're obviously not gonna do that. So we go with the king. My opponent comes back with his rook because he's out of ideas now. I come here with my bishop, which I thought was very smart. I'm trying to play bishop g6 and like cut off the rook, so then there's no more play by him. He comes back with the rook. This is a nice idea. If I go here, it's mate in 1, but I don't do that. Also, if I go here, I thought that this wasn't very smart, but it's fine. Instead, I go queen b7. My idea is I want to get on the light squares. I want to go bishop g6, and I want to come here, not bishop h7 because I already showed you. My opponent comes back in with his king. I go bishop a8, which I thought was smart. The idea is I'm threatening like this check, and that looks pretty dastardly. It looks pretty evil and terrible, and he probably loses there. Thought that was kind of a smart move. Gives me this check. I come up. I come up. I come up. And now I've survived, and there's nothing he can do. He comes back. I bring my bishop back. He comes here with the rook. I move my king up. My bishop is still defended by my queen. My king is going to run and win all these pawns. I'm up a queen for a rook. There's nothing he can do. All my pawns are defended. Comes here. I come here. Comes here. I come in with the queen. Takes. I recapture here. And I simply play this move. And my opponent resigns. And I'm up to 2,200. I won 13 points for beating this 2,400 here. And the reason why he resigns, I'm going to win this pawn. He can't defend it. Like, this is probably his best move. But, I mean, it's over. It's over. Like, you can't, even in the end game, I'm just going to push this, and your dark sword bishop is going to do nothing. So, that was an insane game. And, yeah, I'm up to 2,200. What's kind of funny and fitting is that the game review gave me an accuracy of 82% with an estimated rating of 2,200. Which is pretty funny. But that was this game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found this entertaining, instructive, all of the above. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, do all the normal things YouTubers tell you to do. And yeah, I'm 2,200 now. Good evening and good night.